Hi everybody, welcome to the show. This is an interview that I did with Ed Cardall from By the Same Token. We did it at the Calling in Liverpool, but didn't have enough time to put it out in between the rounds. So here it is now. Hope you enjoy it. Hi everybody, welcome back to the Calling in Liverpool, and I've been joined by Ed Cardall, the lead designer for By the Same Token. You may be familiar with these tokens. You saw them on the world stream from Barcelona, all the cranked, the scrapped, the boosted. Yeah, fantastic, fantastic tokens that you make, all in plastic, all laser etched.
Laser etched acrylic, hand painted in a secret bespoke process by a master.
I'm not going to get that
It's
out
not
of you,
me.
am I? Yeah,
No.
Oh,
apologies. Sorry.
It's all right. Everybody does it. Everybody's learning. New set, new tokens.
Yes.
We will have some of them on the stream. You may have seen them earlier. Let's go through them. Let's go through the really nice one, because you make commemorative tokens to sort of like, celebrate the event that we're in. I make my little Baz the Bard dice and I give them out to people, especially that are my patrons and other people, as I go around. You make these ones and you hand them out, and you've made the gold token calling one. So it says Liverpool 2024. So some people here will be lucky enough to go away with them. You are showering them.
I am casting them off of rooftops. They are hopefully not causing any major injuries. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it is pretty satisfying to have like a sack of stuff you can just upend and be like, do you want some gold? But yeah, I mean, in my wake, I'm hopefully leaving a trail of kind of various thematic tokens, and I wanted to this year here make some currency for you to kind of throw around in the arena, and it's always nice to make it unique to the set it's for and the place we're at. So we've got Liverpool, we've got the Liver Birds represented on there.
It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. For Barcelona, you made Steam resource tokens.
Yes.
They were brilliant. Black, gold, like bronze edged with the resource symbols in them.
So it's loosely based off of Mastercog. Hopefully there's some cues to that, and like the Fable bordering as well.
Yeah, everything you do kind of links in, like the go again token, the overpower token. They're very similar. You can go right, these actions, these have got this kind of like symbology on them.
Yeah.
But everything you do is kind of like multi-purpose. Like for this new set, sort of like you've made sort of like the power token, the might token, I should say. It's got sort of like a guy flexing his muscles with a power token where his bicep is. I don't know if the camera's going to pick this up very well.
Guardian represent.
Yeah, indeed. And sort of like you generate the token, and then basically you can flip it over, and it's got +1 power. So easily usable in a game. You're not sort of like the tokens, don't get me wrong, the tokens are brilliant, but sort of like some people like an extra bit of bling on their deck.
Yeah.
And these are stackable, and
Yes,
they kind of like
absolutely.
very poker chippy, that you can clink them, when you stack up your power, when you're playing sort of like those brute heroes.
You need one of those croupier's rakes to like drag them across the table after your opponents failed to hit you. That's hopefully the goal.
Nice. So we've got the agility token, a flame on fire, a bit like Hermes, I suppose. Sort of like, and then it's got the go again on the back. You've got the intellect one. Is that intellect?
Yeah, intellect has been something that's just been on the list for ages, and I'm just slowly trying to make my way through it, but especially with Kasai and Nourishing Emptiness, it's just becoming more and more of a thing. And also, if anybody's got a cheeky IP penalty for any reason, you've got the -1.
Yeah, you made a boo-boo, and now there's a token to represent your boo-boo. And then we've got the resource one, the vigor token. Is in a heart shaped with a resource.
Pumping up.
Yeah, and then you flip it over, and then you can basically put it into your, in your resource slot. So it's like the design process. How do you come up with these ideas?
I think the thing about it is when you first make the range, you kind of develop this kind of design language. And so in Flesh and Blood, you have this kind of, you have a few different motifs that kind of exist around. So each token has a kind of similar style of border, and then when you get into designing newer tokens, it's more about looking at the motifs you've got, looking at the new cards in the game, and just kind of squishing them together. I mean, so Go Again is a really nice example because the original token is this sword, and I really like drawing kind of the idea of fashioned steel has this kind of series of curves. I don't know if you've got any way to show that, but the arrow on this Go Again has this kind of similar thing, and it's meant to evoke like Damascus steel.
Okay.
And so the idea is that any metal, any weaponry now throughout the range has this motif.
Yeah.
And it also kind of looks a bit like stained glass. And that's something I really like for Fab. It's very much symbology more than it is a representation of a thing. Everything is a bit exaggerated and a bit weird because it is iconography. Because so much of the really nice aesthetics of Fab is kind of in things like the backgrounds of the cards, the backs of the cards, the set art. Almost it feels a bit like holy imagery. Does that make sense?
In some cases, especially when you've got Soul and the demonstrate sort of like and the fight around Soul, Monarch, and Dust Till Dawn.
I think that comes out maybe a lot in what I like to do because the first sets I was really exposed to were Monarch.
Yep.
And the Light and Shadow Blitz decks. And so that's really where a lot of the ideas, the contrast of those two, that's where a lot of that came from. And I really like the both holy but kind of slightly off iconography of both of them. And I think that goes onto the tokens a lot.
Thing is, it demonstrates sort of like how much Fab appeals on different levels. Like, you know what I mean? I kind of like, I'm a bit of a heathen. I sort of like, I don't really pay much attention to the back until somebody said, oh yeah, these symbols kind of represent the sets that have come out. And it's like, oh my God, yeah, they do. But you as a designer, you're picking up on those cues and you're trying to make something that is aesthetically sort of like and thematically fits with what Flesh and Blood have already done. So in keeping with sort of like, everything that the design team does in the mainstay.
If I can shout out something for a second, I was listening to audiobooks of Joe Abercrombie's first Lore series whenever I was drawing for this, and it is one of the most Flesh and Blood type vibe series of books I could recommend. If you do like Lore, if you're into that sort of thing, I would honestly recommend it.
Nice. Is that where you get most of your inspiration from?
I tend to try and find something relevant to what I'm working on and go from there. I read quite a lot, so it tends to be very varied. But yeah, I'll tend to start by immersing myself in something similar, and then we'll see what pops out.
Yeah. So how long do these? You have an idea, a new set comes out, you go, oh, these would be quite cool. I know you meant, you message me and go, what do you fancy for the stream? What would make things pop? I mean, you've made a wagered token as well, which is like a hand sort of like, flicking coins. It's got the gold coins. It looks ace. We just haven't got it out on the table. But sort of like, how do you start that process?
I think that it entirely depends on the token. So something like wagered, it's so literal that is a thumbnail sketch like in 5 minutes, and then it's just a case of getting that down. But something like this there's so much kind of slightly weirder consideration. I think weirdly the kind of trio of heavy hitters tokens were like a Sunday evening on the sofa whilst I was watching something, just sketching. And I don't know, there's a bit more of a cartoony style to some of the newer Fab art, and I kind of went from there. So I liked the idea of a lot of Flesh and Blood has a lot of these, if you think about resource as a representation of the heart, for example, I like
got vigor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I liked the idea of kind of representing heavy hitters through kind of anatomy, through bodies. There's a lot of physicality in that set, and I kind of wanted that to come through in the tokens.
Nice. Brilliant. They are available now.
They are available on the website right now at buythesametoken.com. We also have an Etsy store.
But you are going to more and more events.
Yes.
So check it out. You're fairly easy to recognise.
Yes, hopefully. And
I spotted you from across the hall. I was like, oh my God, it's Ed.
Wherever I am, I hope I'll have some sort of weird little token for you in my wake. Whatever new set we're getting, I'll try and come up with something.
Yeah. So calling Birmingham, you had these on-hit tokens to say
Yes.
this is calling Birmingham.
Arrowheads.
The resource token you had for Worlds.
Yes.
You've got the calling gold. So depending on what LSS produce on their next sets, depends on what your giveaways are when you go to an event. So it's well worth coming along.
See you there.
Right, nice. Thank you so much. Because I know you're mid-event. So, yeah, thank you so much for the
No
time.
worries, man.
And we'll let you guys get back to the action. All right, then. You take care.
Bye.